want to go a little bit further in talking about pop culture paganism. You see, we believe that when it comes to working spells, it is better for you to use your own spells, write your own incantation. Don't just borrow from somebody else's concept, build it yourself. And one of the other flaws with paganism is, unfortunately, because of the time period that has passed, we have lots of gaps and holes in our knowledge of the entities, the deities. And so why not create your own? So what I did was I grabbed character sheet from the tabletop role-playing game Rollmaster, did a few alterations to it, and I created the entity description and record sheet. This is a way for us to start from ground zero and build an entity that fits our needs. So, what is the first step? Well, we get an idea of what we want for an entity. You might know of an image that you have on your computer that you think is cool, that would make a great god or goddess. Okay, so grab that image, print it off, and set it in front of you. Okay, now let's start the list. Entity name. Well, what are you going to name your god or goddess? You remember, since this is a entity for you, you can name it however you see fit. So you can come up with a foreign language, or you can use traditional English, or regular English, however you want it. And so I have come up with one version. I'm going to print it off here because I can't say it. And it means spirit of trees. The next part is to name the tradition. Now, many of us will name the tradition that we follow. There are people that follow like Alexandrian Wicca. They might declare themselves to be a specific type of druid, an Odinist, however you want to classify your tradition, write it down. So your entity belongs to this tradition. Next stage is about profession. Now, this is simply saying what this entity is the god or goddess of. So, like this character that I'm creating, it is a spirit of the trees. So this is obviously a forest god. And so we'll put down forest god, then we go to race. Well, I follow a Celtic pantheon, and so I would put down Celtic. But just think about this. You could put down any culture you want. You can even put in a crypto culture, and you can put down like something for like Star Wars or Vulcan for Star Trek. Okay? Place of origin. Well, where do you picture your god or goddess coming from? And the nice thing about this is if you follow like me, a Celtic tradition, and you live in the United States, you do not have a god or goddess that's nearby, that's close by, that you can, hang around with, So you can actually put their location, their place of origin, into a location near to you. So I could say that they are part of a wooded area that's like 10 miles down the road. And that becomes their place of origin. Next step is determining sex. Because we have non-binary gender people entering paganism, and there is a lot of undecided feelings about various genders, we could literally call this a male, a female, gender neutral, fluid gender, however we want, whatever feels good and balances out our tradition. Age, well, how old is this? Or you can classify it. Is this a young god or an old goddess? because, as you know, we have the triple goddess concept. Well, is this the maiden, the mother, or the crone? Describe it. Date of birth. Well, we have our Sabbats, that go around with year. Why not assign a date for the birth of your entity? So then you can celebrate that date every year and build a stronger connection with that entity. Now the next steps are building the description of your entity, height, weight, hair, and eyes. Well, look at that picture and you can describe, how that entity looks in there to, to put it down in writing to make it more solid. Personality. Well, you can tell, special abilities. You can put down anything. You can make this particular god or goddess to be very powerful in magic. It can, like summon certain animals instantly. It can go to ethereal planes. It can do whatever. Write it down. The next step is personality. Well, certain gods and goddesses have a personality that reflects upon what they are. Is this entity that you're creating a god or goddess of love? Well, have a personality that kind of fits that persona. The next step would be background history, or your personal history for this entity. Like I said, we in paganism, we have holes and gaps with the gods and goddesses that we honor in their traditional sense. And so there are gods and goddesses where we have like 2 small bits of information and nothing else. Well, here you have a chance to make a super detailed description and history of your god, your entity. And so then you would not have the gaps. You can add whatever you want so that it can make your tradition more complete. And then the final stage is equipment, because most gods and goddesses have something with them that makes them special or is special to them. Because you have like Artemis, who has the bow. Athena, she has a spear. Some deities have like a cauldron, a club, but it could be anything. So, like I said, I'm creating a Celtic god of the trees. Well, give this particular entity a staff. And then in the description, tell about the staff. Such as maybe when this entity takes the staff and thrusts it onto the ground, it will summon the animals. It could be anything. And so then you could have a fully described entity into your path. Okay. Well, I hope that you like what I've kind of tried to describe here. I would like to hear your opinions on this concept. So everybody, take care, be at peace.